Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is WillPower and Tony Snap is here today. Talk about fantasy baseball. This is our 3rd edition episode, and I'm really excited to get this going. Cool. Hey, we're gonna talk about the top 3 pitchers out there. Each one of you guys gonna give me your top 3. We'll start with you, and then we'll go with Tony Snap, and then we'll see what. If we have like a little dialogue on the pitchers and see if we have a different list from each other. So let's start with you, WillPower.
Coming in at number 1, of course, I think everyone's going to agree with me on this one, is Jacob deGrom. I don't think that there's anyone else in baseball right now that can compare to this guy. National League, American League. He's been so dominant for so many years. He got me a little scared a couple years ago when they said that he could possibly have Tommy John surgery, but he rested for like 3 weeks and then he came back and stronger than ever. So that's my number 1.
That's your number 1. So that's one of the ones that's gonna go, the first round, second round, one of the first ones, right? For sure. You think the same thing? You think the same thing, Tony?
Yeah, definitely. deGrom, number 1. First round anyways. I don't know about like first overall draft pick, but definitely number 1 pitcher to me. Yeah.
And I think it's really like, it's hands down. He's a top pitcher. He's always been. And like you said, Will, like he was one of he was about to have Tommy John surgery, but he did rest a little bit. And he does have some good numbers. Like, he's been in the league for 6 years. So coming into 2021, he's going to be in 7 years, his 7th year there. And he's doing really good. His ERA hasn't gone over like 3, only for like 2 seasons. But the other
but then he broke out in 2018 with the 1.70 ERA. And how crazy is that to have an ERA under 2 and you have 32 starts, and he has a 1.7 ERA. That's insane, man.
So he did not miss not one start. So that's a
217 really innings that season.
Yeah, that's a really good pick to have for sure. Like you want to have that.
That's
guy.
A lot of innings.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And honestly, dude, with the way that the Mets are going right now, signing James McCann, I'm sure they're going to be doing some other things before the season starts. He's going to be definitely going, number 1 pitching wise.
Yeah,
it's the thing that sucks for him is he doesn't really have the wins to show how great he is because the Mets have sucked for so many years. But because of the new owner, the money that they're going to spend, I think that this guy is going to be, he's going to have 20 win seasons for, as long as he stays with the Mets.
Yeah, his value is definitely going to be going up after this. He's, like you said, he's always been really good, but he's never really had the run support behind him to give him those wins. So he can have like a breakout season to say like, oh, look at him. He's got 20 wins this season or something like that. He's normally losing his games by 1 run, which really sucks for them. But hopefully this year with the new manager with the Mets, they spring a little bit more cash. And to be honest, I think they're going to go after Springer after this pickup with McCann.
Yeah. They saved a little money by not going after Real Muto.
Definitely.
So now they do have a little bit more money to spend, either Springer. There's so many options that they can do. They can even go out and get Trevor Bauer if they wanted to add to deGrom and Syndergaard and Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, imagine those 4 guys in the rotation. Game over.
Well, that helps him out too, right? Because that takes pressure away from him to trying to be the best pitcher out there. So that just takes a lot of pressure. If he needs to take a day off, he can go ahead and do that. But for fantasy players, they're like, nah, I don't want you to take a rest. I want you to pitch. Right? That's what I got you for. Right? So, you guys both agree that deGrom is number 1. So let's go to number 2 and let's go ahead and go with you, Tony. Who do you got for number 2?
My number 2 would definitely be Garrett Cole, just because he's been in the top 3 maybe for the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
As one of the elite pitchers. So and then with the Yankee squad, the Bombers, I think he'll do just fine. Short season last year, but
that
I definitely
show a lot, right?
The first round.
Yeah, that doesn't show a lot because of the 60 games. Like we were talking about it before the show. Like, is it going to be enough? 60 games is going to be enough to you decide who's first, who's second. So you're pretty much going off of like the stats from last year and the years before, what you've seen from these pitchers. So DeGrom has really been really good. He's never been under 500 in like record wise, like in his whole career. So that's and then Garrett Cole, I mean, he pitched for the Pirates, which was not all that great, but his ERAs were really low. We're really, they were okay, and he got traded, and with the Astros, he just did really good. And now with the Yankees, with 60 games, he probably didn't pick it up as much. So maybe this next season, if it's a full season, because we don't know yet, he probably, he's going to be dominant, and he has a lot of strikeouts too. So that's
what I like.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So what's up with you, Will? You think he's number 2?
I picked the same guy. I'm going with Garrett Cole, number 2. He is the American League equivalent to Jacob deGrom.
Okay.
Not only that, but we were talking about how deGrom's value is going to get higher because of the run support that he's going to start getting. But Garrett Cole already has that run support. As long as the Yankees batters can stay healthy, that's really the only issue, because Judge keeps on getting hurt, Stanton keeps on getting hurt, Sanchez keeps on getting hurt. So what
now
they really
need
is more, they need to utilize the DH more often for these guys, to try to give them a random day off throughout the week and not just have one guy designated for just that DH spot. Luckily for them, the DH is already in the American League, so they can afford to do that with a guy like Stanton, who has this crazy contract, and Judge that just, he's so big that all the weight from his body, it's hard to maintain in the outfield. These guys need an extra day off every week. Honestly, in my opinion, I would think it'd be beneficial for the whole MLB to shorten the season a little bit. 162 games, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. And it's not just playing for 3 hours a game and 15 minutes of action during actual game time. But you also got to think about the travel that these guys have to go through. They're not resting whenever they're not playing. They're always on the road, whether it's buses or planes or whatever. They don't get a lot of sleep. They don't get a lot of rest. A lot of these guys can't even sleep on the plane, you know? So
No, I agree with you. Garrett Cole is one of those top pitchers for sure, but do you think because he doesn't have a pitching cast around him, do you think he's going to be as good as he's been? Because I guess the last 3 seasons, he's been pitching like under what? Well, he was almost close to 3. So on 2018, he was 2.88, and then 2019, 2.5 with the Astros. And he went with the Yankees. He's pitching 2.84. So he's under 3, but he didn't have a cast with the Yankees. He had a cast with the Astros. Now with the Yankees, do you think that that's going to take an effect on his pitching?
Well, I think in the beginning of the season, because this was his first season with the Yankees, it was like trying to get acclimated with this new team, because in the beginning of the season, he wasn't doing so good.
He wasn't.
His first 3 or 4 starts, they weren't so great, but then he ended the season under a 3 ERA. So he definitely finally got into his groove towards the middle to the end of the season. So I think next season, because he's already been with this team, became friends with these guys, buddy with these guys, he feels a little more comfortable. I think next year he's just going to become, he's coming out guns blazing. I think he's another Cy Young potential candidate for next season.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to come out blazing. I think especially like you mentioned, his first year coming back, getting used to new faces, new people, new stadium. I think he's going to do really well. The Yankee fans welcomed him with open arms. He's been dreaming to play with the Yankees since a kid, which is I feel like will be a big motivator for him to try to cement his name as one of the Yankees greats, So I think 2021 is going to be a great season for Cole.
Cool. And these are 2 players that you guys want on your team, or whoever team is going to be out there you giving advice to. These are 2 guys that you really want to look for. So let's go for number 3. Will, who do you got for number 3? Who do you must have on that roster of yours?
Number 3, he didn't do so good this past season. He hasn't really shown his stuff. I think that because his teammate was injured early on in the season, that could have been a little bit, extra weight on his shoulders. But I'm going Max Scherzer. I think that he's had an amazing career. I know he's a little bit on the older side now, But with this guy, I don't really see any signs of slowing down. He's still throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He has an 85-mile-an-hour changeup to kind of complement that fastball. His curveball is amazing. Slider has amazing break on it. He's always been a really high strikeout pitcher. He has a 20 strikeout game. I think he's actually the only active pitcher to have a 20 strikeout game. Still going right now. So number 3 for me, Max Scherzer.
And you know what? He's been in the league 12 years, and he's getting older, and he's he is feeling it on the arm, I'm pretty sure. But I've always picked him on my fantasy team. He's one of the first pitchers. Yeah. I never get first pick, so I'm never gonna get one of those top
elite,
elite whatever. But I think Scherzer is an elite pitcher to me. He gets strikeouts. He gets a lot of innings pitched. He's out there 7 innings. Like an average. So I think he's a really good pick. I'm happy you chose him because he's one of my picks for sure. I just like the guy. The guy's really cool. He finally won his World Series. I think he won it with the Tigers too, though, right? So
did they win it with him?
I think so.
One more thing that I wanted to point out about Scherzer also is we were talking about last week how it's so important for pitchers to eat up innings. Like you just said, he usually goes 7 innings.
Yeah.
6 years in a row, this guy pitched over 200 innings for the season.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do in this game's and age. Not just because of the pitcher, what they're capable of doing, but also because of the manager. Like we saw with Kevin Cash pulling Blake Snell, in the World Series. And a lot of these guys are going off of analytics, but because this guy is so strong and he stays strong throughout the game, go ahead and leave him out there for the 3rd time around the order,
Yeah. And this guy's
Dusty
money.
Baker did it when he was the Nationals manager, and now nothing's changed. So.
He's money.
He's
money. He's for a fantasy team that I feel that he's for sure top 3. And like I said, I'm happy you chose him number 3. Tony, who do you got number 3?
To me, it ultimately depends on what happens during this off-season trading. To me, it's a toss-up right now with between the two, Bieber and Bauer. Depending if the Indians trade and start looking to rebuild their team and looking towards the future, I would put Bauer down to I would put Bauer in my number 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, So basically, if the Indians end up trading their pieces, then Bieber will go down to my number 4 spot. And if Bauer ends up being picked up by a playoff-ready team, like let's say the Dodgers or someone else that has that high caliber, I would put Bauer down to number 3. So I'm kind of still up in the air as my number 3, but it's definitely between Bieber and Bauer.
And those are, those are 2 Cy Youngs that you picked in the 60-game season. One of them was more of a sleeper type player in the 2020 season, because who knew that Bieber was going to be like lights out like he was, right? We were talking about before the show started how he got lit up in the Yankees. Maybe if it was a longer season, we would have seen him drop off a little bit. Because of the 60-game season, we don't really know if that was really a fluke or not. Maybe he does come and he's going to be lights out. And then Trevor Bauer was, he hasn't pitched all that well like he did last year. He was a Cy Young and he was lights out. So those are 2 really good picks, interesting picks to me, to be honest. But if you say that's your number 3 and those 2 guys are one of the must-haves, I mean, that's good. I mean, why not? They're Cy Youngs. Right? Yeah, they are Cy Youngs, and you can't take that away from them, because if it's 162 games or a 60-game season, it's still a season, and you still finished it, and you still won that award, and you still need to go, recognize that player for sure. So with that said, those are the top 3 for the fantasy baseball. Now we move on to another category. You guys ready for this one?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Are you talking to me or the viewers at home?
So who wants to go first on this one? And you guys, can go. I need to know who are your sleepers, since I said, I was about to say Justin Bieber. Oh my God. Chain Bieber. He was a sleeper last year. Who is your sleeper, and who can you give, who are you going to give, up? I mean, who is this sleeper of yours?
Tony, you can go first on this one, man.
Oh man.
Oh man. Jeez. Well, it's really hard for me to ultimately decide who will be the sleeper, I guess. I like Max Fried a lot. I just feel like he might be able to turn it up to the elite level after this last season. I feel like the Braves are going to have a lot to prove, and he's going to want to come back and just prove it to everyone else that they should have been in the World Series or whatever. I like him, but my ultimate sleeper, to be honest, I feel like the Dodgers went ahead and just pulled the rug under everybody and picked up Jimmy Nelson. Back in 2017 and 2018, he was a really good pickup for the Brewers. Jimmy Nelson is now with the Dodgers, and he signed a minor league contract with them. I feel like the Dodgers have a great track record when it comes to picking up older pitchers, or not just older pitchers, but pitchers who a lot of people say have fell off or whatever and just don't have it anymore. I feel like the Dodgers are the type of organization to pick up pitchers like that and really turn them around. I feel like their pitching staff really knows what to do with these type of pitchers. They did it with Blake Turan. They picked up Brandon Morrow too just recently. But my ultimate sleeper, I would probably be picking up towards the end of my last rounds would be Jimmy Nelson. Jimmy
Nelson is one of the guys that hit a home run against Kershaw in the playoff games, right?
Yeah.
It is, right? Oh, okay, I was just trying to remember. I think Jimmy Nelson was the guy that hit the home run against Kershaw, and he could rake, man. He could bat.
yeah. I really like Jimmy Nelson. I like his stuff. I don't feel like he's too one-dimensional. Just like two pitches. I feel like he can bring his arsenal, and I think he fits well with the Dodgers. So I think he's my ultimate sleeper. But sleeper to be from run of the mill to elite would be Max Fry. He's really good, and I feel like this next season we'll just see him come into form.
Nice. Those are good, interesting picks. They're pretty good. What's up with you, Will? Or you wanna actually talk about what Tony picked?
Yeah, I'll give my little 2 cents.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy Nelson, I don't remember if it was 2016, 2017, but one of those seasons, he was just amazing, right? He was pretty much considered the ace of the Brewers, the season that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
2017.
Had a 2-something ERA, a bunch of strikeouts, a really good pitcher. And when the Dodgers signed him, I remember thinking oh, damn, that's a good pickup. And all of a sudden, Jimmy Nelson's hurt, not going to play the whole season. All right, well, let's see what happens next year. Next year comes, Jimmy Nelson's still hurt, not going to play this season. So I haven't seen him in a Dodgers uniform. I haven't seen him pitch in 2 years. So maybe even 2.5 years, something like that. So my only problem with Jimmy Nelson is coming back from an injury for, you're out for 2 years. That's going to be a lot of working through this, to get out of your head, because he's definitely going to be in his head. He's going to be thinking about this too much. He's going to be thinking I don't want to re-injure myself, then I'm going to be sidelined again. I want to help this team win a World Series. And another thing why I really wouldn't consider him the sleeper is because I don't think he's going to be in the rotation. He's going to be in the bullpen. So he might pitch, 1-2 innings per week. Maybe next year, I might see him as a sleeper, depending on what he does this year. But I don't really see him pitching more than 50 innings this season. That's my issue with Jimmy Nelson this year.
Okay, that's interesting because we don't know if he's going to be a starter, because the Dodgers are kind of already
stacked.
They're stacked
on starting pitching.
But if this guy does go ahead and wins that fifth spot, because no one has that fifth spot for sure. No one knows who's going to be the fifth starter or even the fourth starter. They only have their 3 starters that are set. We don't know who is going to be that number 4 and number 5. I might be wrong. They might already know who number 4 is.
I'm sure Dave Roberts kind of has it in his head who he's thinking about, but it's not going to be definitive until it's actually on paper.
Exactly, and they have to get to spring training. So maybe when spring training comes in and he's throwing, because this guy threw hard. He threw 97, 98 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So he's a starter.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a huge dude. And this guy he was throwing 98 in the 8th inning, 7th inning, like still throwing gas. So if he still has that stuff, like I'm pretty sure the Dodgers can do work and can actually make it work for them. So who do you got, Will? Since you don't want Jimmy, you're saying Jimmy Nelson.
He's my deep sleeper, by the way. That's I want to.
One of those that he's asleep and you're just like, hey, wake up.
That's the type of guy you pick as maybe like your last
round. That's what I said.
Or your second to last pick, and you just hope for the best. And if you have to drop him, oh well, you just drop him. No one's gonna pick him up, and then you pick him up again if the Dodgers all of a sudden announce that they're they need someone to join the rotation because all of a sudden Dustin May injured his pinky or something.
Yeah.
Or Bueller with the.
Yeah. I mean, Dodgers have that track record of constantly putting their pitchers on
Kershaw with the back.
10-day IL. Yeah.
That
sucks for that guy.
Yeah. Well,
that's actually when Kershaw's downfall started happening, when his back started hurting, because he was on the plane back from Japan or something, and he slept wrong, and then ever since then his back's just been messed up.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks.
A 20-hour flight or something like that. Long ass flight.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do you got number 3?
He's probably one of those guys that can't sleep on the plane, tossing and turning. Not fun, man.
You have to be awake all those 20 hours. You're saying you're asleep, but you're really not. You're just like, and then you're hearing the noise and everything. So you really don't sleep. Yeah. So who do you got number 3, Will?
Well, my fantasy sleeper. I think I remember this guy not even getting drafted at all this past season. And now I think he's probably going to be maybe like a 13th round, 12th or 13th round type of guy. I'm going Sixto Sanchez. He's a Marlins pitcher. I think that this guy has the potential to be the Marlins ace. Fastball is 98 miles an hour. And then to complement that, he has an 89 mile an hour changeup. That's a huge difference between, 98 miles an hour and then you throw down into the high 80s. So that type of velocity change is really going to screw up the batters. And then he also has a slider and a curve to kind of go along with it. I think the Phillies really messed up on this trade. That was, part of the deal for them getting Real Muto, but now we don't even know if Real Muto is going to stay on the Phillies. So, that kind of sucks for them, but Sixto Sanchez, almost throwing 100 miles an hour. Marlins looking like a playoff team last season. I think that they're going to do the same thing this season coming up. They're only getting better with, Derek Jeter at the helm. That's my pick, Sixto Sanchez. Yeah,
and he's not a bad choice. He didn't do that bad. He was a 3.86 ERA. I mean, he's a rookie. 346 was it? 346. And then 8-6. It was 8 wins, 8 losses. For a team that really didn't score a lot of runs, but they made it to the playoffs. But then again, this guy was his first year up in the big leagues. And you said number 13, Will? You'll pick him at number 13?
I think like a 13th round, maybe 12th or 13th round, something like that. He'll probably go off the board. Another thing that people don't really look at is minor league numbers, but the 2 seasons before he came up in the majors, he was under 3 in ERA, a 251 and then a 276, and a bunch of strikeouts to go along with it. 2019, he had 103 strikeouts in 114 innings. So that's almost a strikeout per inning.
Yeah. And I said 8-6. No, that's the wrong record. It was 3-2.
3-2.
I was reading the minor league record with it was 2019 and 2020. So so I was reading the wrong one. So he won 3 games, lost 2 games. He had a 3.46, like you mentioned. All right, cool. Those are pretty good picks. That's good that you're giving where to pick them and who to pick, which is a good thing, good advice for whoever's watching this show and wants to get their picks, their fantasy picks. So now I'm gonna ask another question. Who is a bounce back pitcher for you guys? I know there's a lot of them out there. Let's go ahead and start with you, Will.
My bounce back pitcher, who is someone that I was kind of excited about before the season started, but because of COVID, it really messed things up, and he decided not to play this past season, and that's David Price. David Price won the World Series with the Red Sox back in 2018 when they beat the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So I remember, he was another guy that was with Max Scherzer on Detroit, also with Justin Verlander. He's been in the league for a really long time. Career 3.31 ERA. That's amazing. To have to keep your ERA that low for how long has this guy been in the league? Since 2008. 2008. So 12 years, 13 years, something like that. He didn't pitch at all this season, which actually in my eyes is great for him. He's still keeping in shape. He's probably still throwing, bullpen sessions when, in his off time. I'm sure he wasn't just like playing around the whole time, He stayed away from the league. Yeah. He didn't wear out his arm. He's a little bit on the older side. So him getting the rest for this whole season, I think it's actually going to be an advantage for him coming into next season. He's going to be fresh.
Yeah, and he didn't pitch at all in 2020. He started in 2008, and he's all the way to 2019. That's 11 years. So since he didn't pitch last season, you're right. Maybe arm fatigue kicks in for some of these pitchers, taking a full year off just to I'm pretty sure, like you say, he didn't just relax, but he will come back in 2021. Hopefully he comes back 2021 for the Dodgers. He probably might be that fourth starter or that third starter. And yeah, I mean, a comeback, he should be one of the top players that are going to be mentioned for that spot. Do you want to comment on that, Tony, or you want to give us your sleeper? I mean, not sleeper. Your comeback.
I definitely I like David Price, but I just kind of want to correct Will real quick. He said that they beat the Dodgers. Just want to let you know they cheated the Dodgers. But aside from that, it's a pretty good pickup. I would like to see David Price come back, and because his last year with Boston, I don't think was great. I think it was pretty mediocre, which was why they were probably willing to part ways with him. As far as my bounce back player goes, which would probably be the most hopeful for San Diego, Chris Paddock. I think he was very highly touted when he had his breakout season. I think it was his rookie season or whatever. Yeah. But I think they're definitely hoping and praying that Chris Paddock comes back and bounces back to full form and what they expect from him. It will be interesting to see, especially with the hometown rivalries or the state rivalry that they have between LA and San Diego. Yeah. But my bounce back would be Chris Paddock.
And that's a really good pickup, to be honest. I didn't think about Paddock, and he is going to have a lot more cast around him. I know what's his name, the guy they traded for Cleveland. He's not going to be there because he's going to have Tommy John surgery. And Clevenger, yeah. If he's around the clubhouse, he could probably give him some pointers and how to bounce back to getting to form again. For some of these pitchers, it takes a while for them to get back into the groove, because we've seen it with pitchers where, like Buehler wasn't even ready when the season started because of those scrimmage games. I don't even know if it was it's not even spring training. It was what is it? Summer training, whatever it was called, summer camp. There wasn't even enough. So they had to only pitch him 3-4 innings in the season. And by the time he got into form, it was probably at the end of the season into playoffs, which he was really lights out. Yeah. So yeah, for someone like Paddock, I think he's one of those pitchers that needs to use that spring training to get into form, to get into the season. So I think it's a really good pickup. I honestly think both picks are actually really good. I would like to have Price and Paddock in my team if I was doing a fantasy thing. So,
yeah, and the thing with Price and Paddock is in some leagues they're probably not even going to get drafted just because Price didn't play last season, and then Paddock was so bad last season. Mm-hmm. So you might get a huge sleeper in one of those guys or even both of those guys. You never know.
Yeah, and then people that don't pick these two guys, I'm pretty sure they're going to pick Verlander, thinking that he's ready to go. So, all right, cool. Thanks for those two picks. All right, now, a guy that you guys know that's a good pitcher, and he might not even perform. Give me your bust, Tony. I'll start with you.
My bust for this 2021 season, if the Angels are banking on Ohtani to be pitching, or if fantasy owners are banking on him, I would have to say you're crazy. I honestly don't see him being a great pitcher, especially just always getting hurt. You know, he didn't even get back into form with his batting. He had one of his, I don't know, he reminded me of Chris Davis from like Baltimore. He was just that bad when it came to batting. And I feel like being that bad, it's going to be a major factor into this next season as far as morale goes, or his like his own mind, just what he's capable of. And I honestly feel like he's a bust. If you pick him up as a pitcher, you're doing something wrong.
So you're throwing your season if you're saying you're picking this guy up.
Yeah, you pick up Ohtani as a pitcher, good luck.
Unless it's ESPN, then you get him as a hitter too, and then you still have some DH available every day.
Yeah, well, even then, I feel like you can get someone better than Ohtani.
Yeah, I agree.
You can get someone better. Plain and simple. I will let Ohtani
especially fall. at the round that he's going in.
Yeah, he's going
I think
what?
He's going way too early.
Yeah, 100. He's in the top 100. That's crazy. That's crazy, especially after the season he had. He didn't hit well at all. He was horrible. He didn't pitch at all. And I don't even think the Angels are even talking about bring him back for 2021.
To pitch?
Yeah. So, definitely a bust if you pick up Ohtani as a pitcher.
I mean, on paper, he looks good. Because remember when we first started the fantasy thing with him being in it, was like, oh man, he's a pitcher and a batter. I'm gonna go ahead and grab him. And I remember him leaving.
Well, his first season was good.
Yeah, his first season was good. Yeah. And I remember he left probably in the third, fourth round. You know, he wasn't top 1, 2, 3. I think it was 4 or 5. So, but it was one of those guys that were like, yeah, I want this guy, but I don't want to pick him first. You know, I don't want to be one of the first to go ahead and get him because I don't know if he's going to produce. Right. So as the years went on, because he's been in the league 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. His batting average is at 2.86, which is not that bad. You know, probably averaging 20 home runs a season. But last season it was only 7 home runs, and again, it's only 60 games, and it's a little short, season. But yeah, that bust, I agree with you on that one. I don't think Ohtani's going to be something that's going to be a great.
I'm not drafting him.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
He'll probably be my last pick,
if he's still available.
I'll let you pick him.
he's averaging at top 100. I think it's foolish to pick him up anything after 150 or something like that, because I feel
if it's a 14-team league, I'll get him towards the end. But in a standard 12-team or 10-team, I'm not picking him up.
Nah.
Yeah.
Too much of a liability.
Yep.
All right, Will, who you have as a bust?
Tony, you're not gonna like this one, man. I'm going with your number 3 starting pitcher overall. So my bust for this season is going to be Trevor Bauer.
Oh, okay.
Trevor Bauer, man. I've seen him great, and I've seen him horrible. And the problem is I've seen him horrible a lot more often than I've seen him great. You know, in 2012, he had a 1.68 ERA. Next 3 seasons, he was over 4. And then 2014, he had a 2.15 ERA. And then the next 3 seasons, he was over 4. And then 2018, it was a 2.21. And then the next 3 seasons, it's over 4. And then 2020, he has his Cy Young season. So, I mean, if he figured something out in last season, then I understand he could be, the guy that wins you the season if he pitches the way that he did. But I think that this guy relies too much on his rotation of the ball. I understand the rotation of the ball, the more RPMs that you have on the ball, it creates more break, it makes the ball travel faster. But this guy is just too much into math, and not relying on his skill enough. He's even said he's broken down the mathematical parts of pitching, and that's why he has the most rotations on the fastball, the most rotations in the whole league. So I understand why you picked him. 94 mile an hour fastball, 81 mile an hour slider, and 80 mile an hour curveball. But I don't see this guy as Cy Young again. I don't see him getting under a 2 ERA, which is what I would be hopeful for if he ended up on my team. But this guy, I'm not drafting until I don't see him better than like a round 6 or round 7 draft pick for me.
What?
Oh,
yeah. That is crazy. That's crazy.
Hey, but you know the Indians did trade him on the year that he wasn't pitching all that great. You know, they traded him in 2019. He was at 4.58. 4.48 ERA. He got traded to Cincinnati, and with Cincinnati, he was pitching all that. He wasn't pitching that bad. Actually, yeah.
2019, he had a 6.39 ERA with Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, no, I was looking at the wrong numbers. And then the 2020.
That's a bad year. That's a bad year.
Bad year. But see, look, if you look at the 2018 season, he did 2.21.
Yeah.
And then he went back up to 448. He went to Cincinnati and he was at 6.39, which is not that good. So when a pitcher comes from an American League going to a National League, they should the ERA should go down. It's the difference
because they don't have the DH.
Exactly. So then you go into Cincinnati and you have a 6.39. It's not that good. But then he went Cy Young the year coming.
But see, this is the thing. Also, is the Reds are in the Central, and the National League Central is known as the worst division in baseball right now. So him pitching against, you know, the Cardinals and the Cubs and everyone else along in the Central, I understand why his ERA was so low this past season. You know, also the American League Central. The American League Central isn't nothing to be, you know, excited about either. It's all about the West and the East. So I think that if he would have pitched against all these other teams, Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, I think that his ERA would have been inflated.
I think it's just crazy if you just if you're waiting for Trevor Bauer in the 6th round, you should already pick him up. Any manager out there who is planning on playing fantasy baseball this year, if you see Trevor Bauer in the 6th round, go ahead and take him. Regardless of what this guy says over here, you should be picking him up. Trevor Bauer, if the only reason I would probably wait or have Trevor Bauer in the 6th round is if he re-signs with Cincinnati. If he signs with a big powerhouse, someone that is playoff ready, like the Dodgers or the Yankees, heck, I'll even throw in the Angels just because they have the best player in MLB right now. If he signs with any of those 3 teams, he should not be going more than round 3. I think he's just too good. I agree with Will that that maybe he did excel this year just because he wanted that big contract and he knew that he was. But I also feel that he is he's the type of player right now that he is looking for a title. He's not looking for money. He's looking to win a championship. He wants to cement his name as a great player. I do know that he has great seasons and also awful seasons, but as Will mentioned, that was 2012, 2013. You know, we're looking at 2019. Yeah, but he's also been playing at Cincinnati, which is, I consider, a home run park. Everybody just hits bombs there. That whole team seems to be hitting bombs the whole time. I don't think Dietrich is that great, but he hits home runs there all the time. So I think that's a big factor as well. If he comes to LA or even the Angels, I think the fielding is a little bit better for him. But yeah, if you're out there and you see him in round 3, round 4, round 5, you would be stupid not to pick him up.
And his numbers are not, I mean, like I said, you're looking at numbers from American League, right? You're looking at them, you're saying, oh, maybe these numbers are not like, they're not going to be something that's going to determine why I'm not picking this guy. He's a Cy Young pitcher. You know, you mentioned him, Tony, and he was he was either him or Shane Bieber being your top, you know, number 3, right? So yeah, depending on what team he gets picked by, like, you know, he's going to be a big pitcher. And, you know, I don't know about being number 3 and number 4 like he is. He's not one of those players for me, being the players that are like kind of like, okay, he's proven himself. And I think, Will, you said this before a lot of times. It's more of like what happened in the past, so you can go ahead and rely on these players, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always about track record. I'm not going to go off of, you know, there's one thing that I noticed about Trevor Bauer. It was like in the last actually pretty much throughout his whole career, since he came up in MLB, which was 2013, it looks like, because he was in
he was in
Arizona
in
2012.
Yeah.
So ever since then, his ERA has been kind of inflated, except for 3 seasons. So 3 seasons out of the last 9 have been really good. So track record for me, I see those 6 really bad seasons compared to the 3 really good seasons, and I'm trusting more in the bad seasons. Now, I'm not saying that this guy is going to be, a 6 ERA guy like he was, 6-7 years ago when he first broke out into the league. But I do see this guy as like a mid-3s ERA. He's probably going to get 200 strikeouts, so that's very valuable in fantasy. I mean, 200 innings and probably 200 strikeouts also. But I don't see this guy as a Cy Young anymore, especially if the league is going back to its normal format when he's going to play against the teams in the West and the East.
Yeah, and that's a lot of things. That's a lot of things to think about, because you're just playing against the Central. You're not playing against any other teams in the 2020 season. So the Central wasn't really known for having these powered bats and stuff like that. The White Sox
were really just the White Sox, right?
The White Sox.
I don't really remember any other Central teams that really just broke out.
Yeah, I don't recall any teams like the Cubs, and I don't think they had it all there. The Pirates. I mean, the Pirates are in the
Central.
Yeah, so I don't remember those teams being top. And then you have come on,
Cardinals, Brewers.
Yeah, it's just they were those teams weren't even mentioned. They were mentioned trying to make the playoffs, but I think they weren't even doing that great as opposed to years before.
16 teams make the playoffs, so even some really bad teams were still in the playoffs. So
like the Brewers.
Yeah,
the Brewers were in there for sure, and I don't think they deserve to be in there. But Trevor Bauer, you said 6th round. 6th round to me sounds okay. And Tony, you're saying that you want to pick him what you're saying is you're waiting for him to sign with the team.
Yeah.
Depending on what team it signs with, right?
Yeah, if he signs with Cincinnati, I probably would agree with Will and wait for round 5 or 6. But if he's signing with the Dodgers, the Angels, the Yankees, I don't see why he should be going after round 3. I think it's a steal if you find him at round 4, round 5, round 6, and you're doing a disservice to your own team if you don't pick him up. Again, I might be a little bit biased because I do follow him on social media, and I look at his podcast, but he also does what are they called?
The vlog.
The blogs, yeah. He reminds me a lot of myself. He talks about becoming this great player, how he looks at his career moving forward, and I don't feel like he's after the money right now. I feel like he's after a title, and those numbers look very scary to me. But if he comes on to a team like the Dodgers, I feel like he's got a fire in himself right now that he wants to be, like Will said, he wants to be the best player in MLB to get that money. But in my mind, I feel like he wants to be that best player and win the title.
And he just wants to go with the team that's ready to do it. And he just wants to supply that whatever he has to win it. Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I look at the numbers with Will and I'm just like, whoa, that's, I don't think I'll pick that guy. And then I look at your point, Tony. He's a Cy Young Award winner. He played for the Reds. He's trying to prove a point. Maybe he found himself already. Maybe he's ready to go ahead and take it to the next level of being one of the great pitchers out there. And if I know if I was playing fantasy baseball, which I do, I will go ahead and Trevor Bauer, 3rd round, if he's still available, let me go ahead and get him. He's just that type of player. He's that name out there. He's been mentioned a lot because of the cleats, because of the tweets he puts, because he hates the Astros. I love him for that, because he hates the Astros and
exactly
doesn't hate them, right?
Yeah.
He's voicing his opinion out there. And he doesn't care if MLB suspends him. He's just going out there and saying what a lot of fans are trying to say. And he's a voice for a lot of fans, right? But because baseball is not just about the voice, it's about points. It's about, getting those points in fantasy baseball. I think I will hold off knowing what Will said. And I will have to give that W to Will, man. Sorry.
What? Hey, real talk. Right now, Trevor Bauer, I feel, is going to be saving the MLB. Trevor Bauer is probably the only reason a lot of people are tuning back into baseball.
I agree.
Trevor Bauer is going to be the face of baseball, and I feel like he's ready to take that helm. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. I really like this guy. I like how he talks. I like how his work ethic. He's throwback to me. He's one of these young guys that really reminds me of like old school players. And baseball's better for it.
Yeah. I agree. Well, we'll see what happens with the contract here, and hopefully he does get signed with a good big team. And if he doesn't, then you heard it from these guys. You heard it from WillPower. You heard it from WillPower. You heard it from Tony Snap. Maybe wait for the 6th, 7th round.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let me share one thing with you guys, just so it gives you kind of a little perspective about Cy Young, right? So Jake Arrieta, and I'm sure you guys already know where I'm going with this. So in 2015, Cy Young Award winner, right? 177 ERA, 33 starts with 22 wins that season, right? Amazing season. Looked great. Next season, 310. Still pretty good. Not Cy Young at all.
Not Cy Young.
Next season after that, 353, 396, 464, and then 508, right? So I see Trevor Bauer as a guy like this who has kind of been all over the place throughout his career, ERA wise. I mean, just looking at Arrieta, 466, 505, 620, 478, 723, 366. And then he had 2 great seasons, 253, and then the Cy Young at 177 with a lot of strikeouts, won the World Series with the Cubs, right? And then he goes over to Philly and he's just a bust.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I see. I see Trevor Bauer as this like new generation's Jake Arrieta. I think that he's going to start falling off the way that Arrieta did.
Yeah. I mean, only time will tell, but I honestly feel like you're wrong. I don't know how else to put it.
I'm going to draft him in the 4th round and then I'm going to trade him to
you. Hey,
he is a good trade bait. He is a good trade bait, so it's not a bad pick. Like you're saying, he's gonna pick him in the 6th, and then Tony's like 3, 4. It's good, but depending on the team, right? We're getting to where we don't know what team he's going to yet. We don't know what team is offering that money that he wants. If he was only going to pitch there 1 year, does he really want that ring? We don't know all this stuff until the preseason starts or whenever he signs and whenever you have your draft picks, because you guys are going to choose those days, right? Usually draft picks happen in March?
I would say they should happen a week before the actual season starts.
Yeah, that's what I like to do, because you never know what kind of injuries are going to happen in spring training.
Yeah.
You don't know about trades. A lot of things could happen before the season starts. So I like to do my draft the Saturday before the season starts.
And I think a lot of people do that.
3 days, 2 days.
A lot of people do that because I think on ours, the commissioner decides to do it a week or 2 weeks before, only because he wants to see everybody that's going to be in the draft. It's available that Saturday, right? To do it. So, I mean, anything else to add, you guys, before we go ahead and sign out?
I don't think so. Excited for next week. Talk more baseball.
Yeah.
I like this show for sure. Like, I don't know about you guys. We got into it. We were really engaged and it was really fun. Go ahead and, if you guys like this video, go ahead and click that thumb up. Hopefully you guys like it. These guys gave us their picks, their top 3 pitchers, their sleeper, their bounce back year pitcher, and the bust. And the bust one, I think, was like they were both against each other, which was really cool to see. If you guys have any questions for us, go ahead and go to Netflix again. What the hell? Instagram. We don't have Facebook anymore, so it's Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter account. You guys want to go ahead and do that, and then go ahead and subscribe. And that is it, the right or left, wherever it is. There you go. Yeah, there you go. We'll just go ahead and hoover around the RTB sign logo and just go ahead and subscribe. I'm Carlos Baseball. This is WillPower, Tony Snap. This is Real Talk Baseball. Signing out.
See you guys
later.